What's up, people? It's your boy D-Rock coming to you with another episode of the HSC. Um, it's season 2, so that means it's a new year, a new spring, and it's going to be some new changes for the sports world. Also, it's new changes for me because now we're in Revolution 2. Basically, there's a new baseball season. There is the UFL. College basketball is now over. The NBA is pushing to the playoffs, and the NFL is in the offseason 2 weeks from the NFL draft. Hey, don't forget to seek, listen, and learn to be a sports connoisseur, just like me, your boy D Raw, the connoisseur. Today, I want to talk about the college basketball uh, endings for the men's and women. I know I had gave some predictions, 3 weeks ago about who I thought was going to win on the men's side and the women's side, and actually my predictions were correct. If you were a listener on the last episode, I did say UConn was going to take it all. Um, Now, some of the teams that I said was in the Final Four, I was wrong about, but I did say UConn was going to win it all. I was highly disappointed in U of H. I thought U of H could get to the Final Four, but unfortunately they fell in the Sweet 16 to Duke. Now, I will say this about that game. If Jamal Shed had not went down, I think U of H had that game in the bag. And the reason I say that is because they were pretty much controlling the flow of the game, and they was playing U of H basketball until he went down. The unfortunate thing about that is that U of H probably could have beat Duke even if Jamal Shed had went down and had they had Terrence Arsenault or any of the other young players that was hurt. But unfortunately, that was not the case. But I think Jamal Shed would have definitely got Houston past the Duke Blue Devils. Now, what they would have did against NC State in the next round, I really don't know, but I do like U of H against NC State as well because Burns, he's a hell of a player in the post, but the one thing is he was only 6'7". He had to wait, but U of H just got that defense and they got that tenacity to go get it. And I think U of H would have edged NC State and got out of the Elite Eight into the Final Four. Now, depending who they would have faced in the Final Four, I don't know if they would have had a shot. But I would say this: I think U of H possibly could have beat Purdue because Purdue really was just built around Edie. Looking at that championship game, everything really flowed through Edie. And, if Edie couldn't do nothing, Purdue couldn't do nothing. They had some shooters, but it all needed to work with Edie first on the inside before they could even get the ball going on the outside. And I think U of H could have held that down well. Now, Edie and his size would have been a big problem for U of H, but I just think the backcourt that U of H had would have been a problem for Purdue. And I think U of H could have somehow prevailed. Now, against UConn, I would definitely say U of H would have had some problems just on depth because of the injuries that were already, hitting the team early in the season. I don't think U of H could have probably prevailed against UConn, but I think it would have possibly been a good first half. After that second half, I think U of H would have had some more problems, especially considering that UConn did have a 7-footer in Klingman, and he wasn't Zach Edey kind of a player, but he was still good on the inside, and he can move up and down the floor pretty well. And I think that would have been an issue for U of H. And then plus they had people in the backcourt, and they had some other guys in the front court that would have really just gave U of H a problem. So I think U of H would have went down against UConn. But like I said, I had UConn winning it all as they did against Purdue. It was a good game, especially in the first half. Second half, I think UConn had Purdue figured out, and they exploited them easily and got the victory and won the championship. And they are the first college basketball team to win back-to-back championships in over 10 years, almost 20 years. So that's pretty exciting for UConn, and hopefully U of H take some notes, and we will be able to meet them there next year or somewhere in the Final Four, because I'm pretty sure UConn will be back because they got a lot of young players, a lot of young ballers ready to go, and they are one of those blue chip kind of basketball schools. So you're gonna be running into them eventually anyway. So moving on to the women's side of college basketball, we got to talk about Caitlin Clark. Everybody loves her. Everybody wanted her to win. She was comparing herself to Kobe in the little picture when they won the Big Ten championship, and I told y'all, I said she shouldn't have did that. She should have waited until they won the big one. And look at them, they lost the big one. Once again, she gets far into the tournament, but she can't get it done. Is she gonna be a basketball star? I would say yes, especially in the WNBA. She probably will be. She got a shot like Curry. You know what I'm saying? She can hit it from deep, half court, anywhere on the court, pretty much. Caitlin Clark has it going for herself, but with the right defenders in front of her, she will be slowed down. From what I've seen, I've seen her get slowed down at least 3 times as of recent, but they still, at the time prevailed. But this time, South Carolina was not having it. Dawn Staley did her thing as a coach, and all those girls came together and they really played well. But I expected South Carolina to win, as you guys will remember. That was my prediction: South Carolina going all the way and winning. I actually had Iowa going out, I think like Sweet 16 or Elite 8 against like USC or somebody, but USC had failed and they never even made it to reach Iowa or the case. Or I think, no, I had them going down against LSU, and Iowa actually defeated LSU this go round. LSU, honestly, to me, when I was looking at them when they was playing Rice, the girls just didn't look like they was that dominant. Rice had a chance, and yet they failed. And then it was another game where I seen LSU play as well, and I was like, yeah, I don't really think they really are that dominant this year. Angel Reese is a hell of a player. Look forward to seeing her in the WNBA too. But LSU wasn't that strong this year, in my opinion. Iowa went all the way, met South Carolina, a team with a lot of freshmen, a lot of dogs, as I would call them. And them girls just proved that they were the best team in not the WNBA, but the women's college basketball. They was undefeated all the way through, and they went undefeated to finish off the season. And all you could do is just cap that off with candles and say, man, that was something amazing to win every game that they played throughout their season, including the tournaments and championship game. That's amazing. And what Dawn Staley is doing is amazing. And boy, does South Carolina need to pay her, because she's an amazing hell of a coach and was once hell of a player as well. Now, I want to talk about the Houston Cougars basketball program, just, where they might be going and what's upcoming next for them, because we know Jamal Shead is entering the draft. But the good thing is most of the players that was on that Houston Cougars team is actually returning, which is a good, helpful thing, because it keeps the core close intact. And now you only have to try to hit the portal and get somebody to replace Shed, and possibly Damian Dunn is entering the transfer portal. The one thing I could say for Damian is that his statistics dropped off when he left from Temple and came to U of H, and we're talking about like 10 points. Like, he was averaging like 15.3 points per game at Temple, and then this year he only averaged 6.4 points per game. He also played half less of the minutes that he played at Temple. So I could see why he's transferring. He's transferring because he want more play time, and he want to get his statistics back up, because possibly he was probably hoping to come to U of H not only to win a championship, but also to show the dominance that he showed at Temple. But the one thing I can say is that the competition is a lot stiffer here at U of H than it was at Temple. Temple was in the American Conference, and U of H is in the Big 12, which is probably not, if not one, but most likely two. So Damian Dunn, I see why he want to transfer. So if you lose Damian Dunn and then LJ Cryer come back, Sharp come back, and then you got Jawan Roberts coming back, like Terrence Arsenal coming back, being healthy. You got options. So I think U of H should be in good hands as far as everything. You know, you got Francis coming back, possibly. Everyone else is pretty much coming back that's not a senior. So you're gonna have some new guys on the bench like Ryan Elvin. He won't be a Cougar next season, but you got young freshmen coming in who you never know who might transfer to U of H because it's one of those schools that you want to be a part of, one of those programs that you want to grow with, and possibly you're gonna go deep into the college basketball tournament playing for the Houston Cougars. So of course they're gonna get somebody through the portal, but hopefully whoever they get through the portal this time, hopefully they get two kind of like ball dominant guards or somewhere, or get another shooter or something. Get something that can help this team thrive even when the star player goes down, because I think that was the crutch that Coach Sampson really had, and that was Jamal Shedd. And once Shedd went down after playing almost all game, averaging 31 minutes per game, the University of Houston Cougars was in bad shape. Now LJ Cryer, he tried to take over and do his thing, but unfortunately he wasn't consistent enough, and the offense was just weird when he wasn't on the floor. Because honestly, if you look at like all the guys that play for U of H, Shedd was the only one that really averaged more than 2 assists per game, and that's pretty sad. Shedd averaged 6.3 assists per game. LJ Cryer averaged 1.9, and Roberts averaged 1.9. No one else on this team knew how to really make plays. So they need another playmaker and they need another shooter, or they need 2 more playmakers or something like that to really help this team thrive, because that's where they fail. And I think had they had this problem fixed this year, the University of Houston Cougars would have beat Duke. So that's my statement. Now, moving on, let's talk about the NBA. The Houston Rockets, the past couple weeks, they have been thriving. Jalen Green was having some monster games. He was looking like the Jalen Green that we all wanted. And Sengun had been out, and he has not returned and won't return for the rest of the season. Of course, now it's only 3 games left in the season, but Jalen Green was looking like a monster. He was looking like something you would compare to the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. He was looking like a young him. And hopefully we can see more consistent Jalen Green in the upcoming season, because the Rockets are now eliminated. They're sitting at 39-40, third in the Southwest Division, and 12th in the NBA Western Conference, I believe. So right now, the Rockets, man, they just need to find themselves, honestly. They was playing a certain kind of ball that was slow, that was built around Sengun at first, and it was winning sometime and sometime it wasn't. But then just to see Sengun get out of the lineup because of injury and see Jalen Green take control of the team, the pace of the game sped up. They was running and gunning. It was nice to see Dylan Brooks, in his spot, knocking down them threes. Fred VanVleet, getting guys open and assisting. And it was just really nice just to see that team flowing like that. And so that just goes to show that this team needs to be, to me, built around Jalen Green and then Sengun as a secondary. I know Sengun, he's going to ball in that system that he already, that they already had presented. But to me, they need to figure out ways to really let Jalen Green off the leash and really just be the beast that he is, and then Sengun just do what he gonna do, because Sengun to me needs to improve on the glass anyway. If Sengun was a better rebounder, better defender, this team would be okay. He also needs to become, I don't know how to say, more athletic, but he just needs to work out more and become a quicker player that can get up and down the floor and help this team run that kind of offense. Because if they can run that kind of offense next season With Sengun on the floor, the Rockets will be dangerous. If they can't, then the Rockets will be really trying to decide which way they're gonna go. Is it gonna be Green or is it gonna be Sengun? Also, I want to say this, man. Like, I like Van Vliet, but I feel like Van Vliet, he's overpaid, and I think a lot of people can agree he's overpaid. He's a nice player, most nights, but a lot of nights also he can be a player that's really hurting his team, and possibly in the future seeing him as a six man would possibly be a lot better, and letting Amin Thompson probably run the point guard position. Amin Thompson in his future is going to be a triple-double machine because of his height and his ability to see the floor and score. If he can ever get him a jumper and that he can rely on, he's going to be very, very dangerous. Cam Whitmore, it's nice to say this. This guy didn't start but one game out the season. He played 44 games for the Rockets, and he had 12 points on average. Now, he's going to improve that, and this is his rookie season. Going into year 2, I expect Cam Whitmore to really make a huge jump, a jump that is really going to force Jabari Smith Jr. or Tari Eason to play a whole hell of a lot harder. Jabari Smith Jr. is a 20-10 guy in his future, and hopefully he can make a jump next season where he's averaging more on pace of like 17, 18 points a game. This season he averaged 13.9 points per game. So I like to see Jabari take that step. The one thing about Jabari's frame, and I keep saying this, is that he's almost 7 feet, if not, and he could shoot, he can run, he could dribble. Man, if he can just get with not Kevin Garnett, but if he can get with what's this nigga name? Mr. Nappy Head, Kevin Durant, and practice with him in the offseason, I think Jabari Smith Jr. will be really headed in the right direction. With the frame that he got, that we know he's going to get bigger in, he's going to be an even better, harder person to get past when he's defending. And the strength that he can add to that frame would be crazy, bro. Like, if he can learn how to just use it and massively dominate with the length that he has, Jabari Smith Jr. can really be something special. Tari Eason, I'm gonna be honest. Tari is a nice player, but after that crap he pulled, with the Rockets saying Warriors, shouting out to the Warriors and talking about we came to play or whatever, come out to play or something like that. He really shot himself because, bro, you're on the bench, number one. You ain't played nothing but 22 games this season, and you up there talking about Warriors come out and play. How about you come out and play, bro? It's really hard for somebody to really talk a lot of smack, and they're not even playing, and they sit on the sideline because they're injured. I don't need you talking if you can't help us out. And unfortunately, I really hate to say it, but that's why the Rockets need a real voice in that locker room that's going to put people like Tari Eason in his place, because he put them in a bad position. They was on a hot streak. They was doing good, but once he started talking, the Rockets started doing worse. They started doing bad, and it really took us out of the playoff contention race, and we were eliminated, especially after playing the Warriors when they dominated, and they did come out and play, and the Rockets didn't. So, I don't know what direction this team should really go in, but I will say this. I think this is the offseason where they have to spend the money, they have to make a trade, and they have to go get another star player, because we really don't know what Green is going to be at this point, but we know he's going to be a decent player as of right now. Sengun, he can be a superstar, but I see a lot of flaws in his game too. And we don't really know what he's going to be as of right now. But, I mean, that's the way basketball, cookie crumbles. You really draft a player and hope that in his future he becomes somebody great. And, I mean, it's a lot of possibilities with this Rockets team. But also the one thing I see about this Rockets team is that they have a lot of players that does the same thing. So they're going to have to figure out what kind of system they're going to run and how to divvy up things and make a trade to really stand out so they can make that playoff push going into next season. Oh, and the last thing I want to say about the Rockets. The Rockets are a year behind on where they should be, in my opinion. And it irritates me. It irks my nerves because it's the truth. The Rockets started going downhill in 2020 after the bubble. Once Harden started complaining about he wanted to be traded and stuff, the Rockets, I feel like, didn't reap the benefits of the trade. Yeah, we got Jalen Green. Yeah, we got Sengun. We got a lot of picks. But apparently they messed up when they got the coach that they chose at the time. And, having Steven Silas, it really kind of messed up where the Rockets should be. There's no way that a NFL football team that went downhill the same year as the Houston Rockets, Houston Texans, should be having more success than the Rockets right away and looking like Super Bowl contenders as of right now. Football has a 53-man roster that's just, on the team that's not on the practice squad. That's 53 players that has to be chosen and hopefully mass produce a performance to the point where they can make it to the playoffs. The Texans did that. The Rockets have 15 players, which is an NBA team that's easier to build around because it really only takes 1 or 2 star players. Now, is it easy to find those 1 or 2 star players? I'm not saying it is, but it's easier to go find one in the free agency pool, spend the money and get one, and boom, and then build around him. It's just basketball is easier to build in. And to say that the Texans jumped the gun and beat the Rockets to success is really highly disappointing, in my opinion. And to see where the Rockets are at right now, 39-40, right outside the play-in tournament, eliminated. The Rockets should have been here last year. And this year, they should have been no worse than a 7th or 8th seed for sure. So if the Rockets don't make the playoffs next year, they got a problem. They got a young problem, because that means all the players that they got have not reached the success that they should have. So I'm telling you this now. Hop on that Rockets bandwagon because they coming. And if they fail, they got a huge problem. And it ain't going to be the coach. It's going to be the players. Now, to move more into the NBA talk, let's just make a couple playoff predictions. We know the NBA didn't want the Rockets in the play-in tournament because they got the Lakers and Warriors. And what I mean by that is you got Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green versus LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Spencer Dinwiddie, D'Angelo Russell, and much more. But the whole point is it's Steph Curry versus LeBron. We're talking about the 2 most dominant players of the past decade going against each other. They pretty much split championships. They both got 4 rings, and they're going against each other for that last playoff spot. Why wouldn't the NBA want to mass produce that? Of course they want the Rockets eliminated. Now, I'm not saying that it was all set up this way, but sometimes it really be looking like this. But money-wise, monetarily, man, the NBA is going to make so much money on this single elimination game for the 8th spot, or I'm not even going to say the 8th spot, for that play-in spot of the NBA playoff in the Western Conference. LeBron versus Steph Curry. Everybody's got to be watching. Everybody's wanting to see it, going to see it. Street Clothes will be live and able. They did just play against each other, and the Lakers took a L. But now, Street Clothes will be playing, and LeBron will be playing in the play-in tournament game, and it's all hands on deck. So everybody wants to see that 9-10 game to see who's going to get to take on the Sacramento Kings for that final spot in the playoffs. Now, looking at that, My prediction is, to be honest, I think the Warriors are going to beat the Lakers again with AD on the floor, especially if the Splash Bros has got it going on. It's just hard to defend that. The way the Warriors been picking up their game lately, they've been playing amazing. The Lakers, they were playing pretty damn good. They was a hot team, but now they cooled off. But you never know what you're gonna get out of them, and you just know what consistently LeBron is gonna produce. You know what AD can do, and to be fairly honest, the Warriors really don't have anybody in the paint that can guard AD. So that can be something they can really exploit. But who does the Lakers really have that can guard Klay Thompson and Steph Curry? Nobody. LeBron can always can and will be an X factor on any NBA team. So it's going to be a good game. And I mean, like I said, the NBA wants you to see this. This is what they've been waiting to really show you. And this is why the play-in one single elimination game is going to be special for everybody for years to come. Looking at the Western Conference, Denver is in first place currently right now with the Minnesota Timberwolves 1 game behind them. Karl Anthony Towns has not returned yet, I don't think. But he is not far out from returning to the team as far as I know. He will be back for the playoffs. So the Minnesota team is going to get better once again. And it's going to be interesting to see how they match up against the Denver Nuggets. And if they ever meet each other in the playoffs. But anyways, the 1 seed is the Denver Nuggets. They will be facing off against the 8th seed, which could possibly be the Sacramento Kings or the LA Lakers or the Golden State Warriors. Seed 2, Minnesota Timberwolves. Like I just said, you got Cat. They're in that spot, and they will possibly be facing the Phoenix Suns. That's going to be a good game, just, considering all the star power that's going to be on the floor. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal versus Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards. That's going to be something special to see, and to see how dominant Minnesota can be once Cat gets back on the floor. Oklahoma City at the 3 seed. I would say this: Oklahoma City got a nice squad, man. People don't realize what's all there, but SGA is a special kind of player, and he's going to do some special kind of things. That SGA-led squad will be facing off against the New Orleans Pelicans, who are led by Brandon Ingram and what's the big boy, Zion Williamson. So, and then you got CJ McCollum. So those 3 is a trio going up against someone like the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm gonna be honest, man. I like the Pelicans in that matchup if they really got to go 7 games. Just because of the kind of player Zion can really be. He gave me this LeBron kind of feel sometime, especially when he's healthy. And, his size is just massive, and he can really be dominant. And I would really like to see New Orleans advance against Oklahoma City, to be honest. Then we got the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. I would say this is another star-studded kind of matchup, because you get to see Harden and Kawhi Leonard and PG versus Doncic and Kyrie and so on. That could be another good matchup. And to be honest, just Doncic and Kyrie has been very, very innovative in the backcourt, man. They've been special, And just to see Kyrie dominating the game again like he used to when he was playing with LeBron in the backcourt and things like that, man, it's pretty special, I don't know if Dallas can beat this LA Clippers team, because I would say this: the Clippers actually do have some players in place that can really defend Doncic and Kyrie. But that's going to be something to really watch. And to be totally honest, out of the Western Conference, that would probably be my favorite series to see, because I think those are going to be some special games, and that would be the one series I would definitely say probably go 7 games. Looking at the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics is far ahead of anybody in the NBA right now. 62 wins, 17 losses. But the one thing I notice about Boston is every year they're inconsistent at the tail end of the season. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and in a squad, bro. They're gonna be facing off against either the Chicago Bulls, Atlanta Hawks, or the Miami Heat. And to be honest, I really don't know which one of them teams is going to prevail. Miami, they always so up and down. But remember, what last season, whatever, they was like an 8th seed, and they went all the way to the NBA championship. So that's the kind of team you got to deal with, Miami. But I think I like Boston going against any of those three teams right now, to be honest. Second seed is going to be Milwaukee Bucks. And you know what you're always going to get out of them. Giannis, Damian Lillard, and what's the little shooter, man? I forgot swing man, but you're gonna get a squad, bro. They already won a championship as of recent, and they're really still championship contenders at this point. I know Giannis had possibly got a little injury or whatever, but he'll be back for the playoffs. It's fucking Giannis. He'll be back. Giannis versus the 76ers. That's gonna be pretty interesting. We get a Giannis versus Joel kind of matchup, and then the other guys that Philly has is really going to be nice to just see the full matchup. That can be a series that can go 7 games as well. New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. Man, I ain't gonna lie. Without Julius Randle playing for the Knicks, I feel like the Knicks is going to get ousted early, and the Indiana Pacers probably is going to take over. But you know what? The one thing that's interesting about the Eastern Conference is that every team, pretty much, except the AFC, is only a game apart. So any of these teams that I'm talking about right now could possibly be anywhere from the 3rd seed to 7th seed could possibly, be any of those seeds. These seeds could really just switch around. We really don't know what's going to happen. I know it's only 2 games left, but it's a high possibility. A lot of tiebreakers might be in place. And even though some of these teams have clinched, like the Knicks and the Bucks and the Boston Celtics, those other 3 to 4 seeds, man, they can be anywhere from 7 to 4 seed. So just because Cleveland, the 4th seed right now, doesn't mean that they will be on the last day of the NBA when they actually make they final clinch for the playoffs. It's that ridiculous right now. And speaking of Cleveland, I like to see them ball out, man. The only reason I really say that is because I really like Spider Mitchell, bro. He a cool little player, man. And I know he possibly gonna be a free agent or up to be traded this offseason, and hopefully he could be a Rocket, because I just feel like he's just yet to get the exposure that he deserves and play for the team that he need to be playing for. That's the Houston Rockets. I don't know how he'll fit in our system and with the players we got right now, but of course you have to trade somebody to get somebody. So I like to see Cleveland really flourish in the playoffs and see how deep they can really go. They got special players. I just don't think they got the right coach. But Cleveland will be facing off against the Orlando Magic, a young up-and-coming team. And that's the prime example that I was saying, when we talk about the Houston Rockets. The Orlando Magic is the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. The Orlando Magic was the worst NBA team, or the second worst NBA team, when the Rockets in Orlando was up to get their top picks, and that was Banchero and Jabari Smith Jr. And that was 2 years ago. And 2 years into the future from then, we're looking at the Orlando Magic as the 5th seed in the NBA in the Eastern Conference, and we're looking at the Houston Rockets as the 12th seed in the NBA in the Western Conference, outside the playoffs, eliminated. And that's why I said the Houston Rockets are behind, and they're not on the right track, and they need to hurry up and get on the right track next season. If not, there is going to be some problems. So Orlando, Cleveland, going to be a good matchup, but I like Cleveland advancing in the first round. Indiana Pacers, 6 seed. Oh, we already talked about them against the New York Knicks. I like the Pacers in that one. So, that's my wrap on the NBA, people. I just made some predictions. We're gonna get deeper off into that because it's still a little early, but these playoffs will be starting here shortly, and I just want to make sure that I put my prediction out there right away. And if I had to take a team out of the play-in tournament, between the three teams, Miami, Atlanta, and the Chicago Bulls, I'm taking Atlanta to beat the Bulls in the 9-10 game, and then I'm taking Miami to beat the Atlanta Hawks for that 8th seed. So that's what I'm doing. Now let's talk about the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans have done big things since I've been gone. Man, talk about the happiness that I have for the Houston Texans. Getting Joe Mixon, getting Danico Autry, trading for Stephon Diggs. Bro, trading for Stephon Diggs. Crazy. We are on the right path of success to go to the Super Bowl. And eventually, I think I'm going to be turned up for this Texans team when the season starts. Because it's going down. That's going to be me kissing that Lombardi trophy with my fellow Houston Texans. The Texans possibly have the top trio of receivers in the NFL. When we talk about Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins, that receiving core is just crazy. And then there's just the depth that sits behind them. John Mechie, Robert Woods, Noah Brown, and it's one more receiver I'm missing. But the depth is there in the receiving core now. The running back room looks decent. I still think we go draft another receiver that probably can, run a 4-2 something or a 4-3, just to have it and see where it goes. I think we still draft another running back because I'm not really too sure about my boy DP. Man, I really hope DP come through, bro, because like I always say, I bought that jersey. I spent $100 on that jersey, man, thinking DP was going to be the truth. And year 2, he wasn't. And now we got Joe Mixon. I'm really hoping Joe Mixon thrive in this offensive system with CJ Stroud and this receiving core. But all that really just leans on the offensive line that had been hurt throughout the season. You know what I'm saying? But, man, if Titus Howard can stay healthy and Kendrick Brown can finally get it together, whatever his name is, Kendrick Green, you got something to Kendrick Green, or whatever his name is, bro. One of them Greens need to get it together. We already know what Laramie Tunsil going to do. We know what some of these other guys going to do. I want to see Juice Scruggs get a little bit better, man. It's all really leaning on the offensive line for this offense to really thrive, to protect CJ Stroud and let him do what he going to do. Everybody want to talk about Stephon Diggs and his head case of issues, from the Bills to the Vikings. But guess what? I'm not worried about that. With a team player like CJ Stroud and just the mentors that's around that camp, man, I feel like Stephon Diggs is going to thrive in this system. And if he can't thrive off of this system after restructuring the contract, the deal, and all those things, eliminating those remaining 3 years, making it just a 1-year deal, giving him a little bit of extra money and things like that, then the Houston Texans is going to have a problem. That's only short term. But guess what? Stephon Diggs, even him being a head case, he always learned how to thrive. And the Texans are going to thrive and do their best, and they're going to shine. Nico, Stephon, Tank Dell, I can't wait to see it. That's a lot of excitement, a lot of explosion. And bro, if you add one more dog in there that can go run down the field with Tank Dell, you in business. You in business. Oh, and then I forgot to mention our tight end core. We got Dalton Schultz back. Still got Brevin Jordan. We're seeing what Brevin can do. He might not be a top tier tight end, but man, he can really stretch the field too with Dalton Schultz. That's a good pass blocker, a good run blocker off the edge, and he can catch. I like this team, bro. I like this team. And man, if Joe Mixon just shine, bro, if he just shine in that running back position for he 27, if he can shine for 2 years out of this deal, we in good hands. You look at the defensive side, man, you got Danico Autry that was added. You brought back Derek Barnett. I like what he did. The defensive tackle position is the only position that really concerned me. Khalil Davis, Fada Takasi, Kirk Hinish, and some other guy, Agreem, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't know. Tim Settle. I'm not really too fond of the defensive tackle position, to be honest, and I think that's where we're going to probably take our number one pick in the second round at the defensive tackle position, unless there's something else in front that's a lot better. But, man, the linebacker core is solid. Christian Harris, you got Daniel Hunter off the edge. You got Aziz Al-Shir in the middle, and then you still bring back Henry Toa, and, if you add another linebacker into that room that can go hit and go get it, bro, this team can really be dangerous. Seriously. And not to mention some of the guys they already have, you never really know who's going to step out and who's going to, really shine. Like Jake Hansen can be all-world linebacker next season. It just happens. Like, look at what was produced last season. So I'm really, really happy about this team. Now, the cornerbacks, I know a lot of people saying go get a corner, but I really, really feel like out of the corners they have, one of these guys is going to be pretty solid. And to be honest, Miles Bryant, who they picked up that was a former Patriot, was actually pretty good. He was the best cornerback that they had. And to get him to be a part of this team, I feel like that's a plus. C.J. Henderson is a former top 5 overall corner in the draft. Jeff Okudah, the same thing. Both of these guys came out the same draft. And then you got Derek Stingley Jr. You already know what kind of corner he is. He's a top dog. So he's proven himself. Desmond King, you bring him back. He's proven himself. He's a former All-Pro linebacker, Pro Bowl cornerback. And with all that being said, bro, we got a lot of potential. I don't know why I keep wanting to mention linebackers, but I love the linebacker position because I played linebacker. And, man, if we can get somebody else in that linebacker core that can add to the two that I already mentioned, Aziz Al-Shir and Christian Harris, who really turned his career around as well, going into, year 2 or 3, man, we talking about something special. Daniel Hunter off the edge, man, we talking about something special. And then we looking at the DN position. We forgot to mention Will Anderson Jr. I forgot. It's like, man, the things that this team can really do is going to be crazy to me. With a well-coached defense by D'Amico Ryans and his DC, man, I'm just so excited. Now, in the safety position, I'll be honest, I feel like the safety position is solid. Jimmy Ward, he wasn't very healthy last season, but you never know what you're going to get this year. That could be an upgrade that we can really have, especially just somebody young that can come in and fill in when Jimmy Ward is not healthy. Eric Murray, you know what kind of safety he is. He's pretty decent. Got him with Jalen Petrie. Petrie, I think, is going to really have a solid year 3. I think he had a sophomore slump year 2. But year 3, I think he's going to be back on track, and he's going to do some nice things for this Texans defense. If he doesn't, then I think we've seen the best of Petrie. But, man, looking at this team overall, Yeah, there are some weak spots, but there's a lot of strong spots, man. There's a lot of strong spots, a lot of things this team can do. And then with the changes of the kick return system in the NFL, being more like the UFL. And speaking of, I got to get on the Roughnecks later, but speaking like just talking about the kick return, the way it's set up now with the explosive players we have and what we're gonna get in the draft, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it, bro. Like this is going to be amazing, for real. So, um, looking at the receiver trios, I just want to say something else also. Um, Texans got the number one trio. You look at the Dolphins trio, they got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Braxton Berrios. You look at the Rams trio, they got Puka Nakua, Cooper Kupp, and Tutu Atwell. So the Eagles, I probably say the Eagles probably come the closest in the Niners. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Devontae Parker, or Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel and Jawan Jennings. Like, I mean, there's so many trios out there, and people can like different ones for a different reason or whatever the case may be. But I like what the Texans are bringing. If you get a Nico producing receiver, or Nico Collins producing like he did last season, and Tank Dell coming out even better than he was last season, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. And Stephon Diggs being Stephon Diggs, bro, it's gonna be crazy, you know. So I'm really amazed by what this team can do and what it can be. I don't think that CJ Stroud regresses or anything like that. He might have a little bit tougher season this year, just because more teams got more film on him and things like that. They got a whole season of film, so they get to see where his strengths and weaknesses are, and they can try to exploit some things, of course. So the game is going to get a little harder for him going into year two. But with more weapons, more options, more things he can do, and a better O line, hopefully, and a better running back and things like that, man, it's gonna be crazy. And I just feel like the Texans are on the right track to do something big. And I hope I'm really, really, really am correct. Also, April 23rd, the Texans will reveal all four sets of their new uniforms. I know some of us seen the one set where they're in white with the blue pants, but now we're gonna get to see all four new combinations. The NFL has allowed 3 new helmets for every NFL team, and the Texans will have 3 helmets, so we get to see that as well. Man, it's gonna be cool. This upcoming season gonna be different. New unis, a new squad, and we talking about winning Texan football. So I can't wait to see it. I hope it stays that way. I hope we go into this season being healthy overall throughout the season, and we go deep into the playoffs. And I know it's gonna be some tough challenges ahead. 7 playoff teams on the schedule, and possibly at least, hopefully, 3 or 4 primetime games, man. So I can't wait. And let's talk about the draft just a little bit. We already know Caleb Williams is probably the number 1 pick. No brainer for Chicago, right? I'm gonna be honest though. I don't really feel that Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in this draft. I really already stated before that I feel like Caleb Williams possibly might be a bust. But something tells me he might be a bust, and then something just gives me a feeling that he's not going to be a bust, but he's going to be decent. And that's what I'm going to go with. I think he's going to be a decent quarterback. I don't really feel like he's going to be a great quarterback. Number one reason is he went to USC. But you know what? Ohio State never really produced great quarterbacks either in the NFL. They just had great college quarterbacks, and maybe Caleb Williams can make that difference, at USC, and we're gonna see. But Chicago, they're gonna put him in a great position because they have top picks in the NFL draft, so they can even add a receiver to give him a new target and things like that. Jaden Daniels possibly coming off the board, number 2, going to Washington. I didn't really see a lot of Jaden Daniels. I know he was a Heisman winner. I know he's explosive and things like that, but I don't really know what to say about him. I can't really talk down on him. I can't, give him a negative talk or anything like that. But I know he played 4 years of college. I think he's going to be prepared and ready to go. He played SEC football, which is the best football in college football. And I think he's going to be a pretty solid quarterback. Hopefully, they take care of him in Washington because they had another young guy that used to be able to run and throw it, and it was very explosive as well, named RG3, and they didn't take care of him. So hopefully Jaden Daniels don't be the second coming of that. Uh, JJ McCarthy being a third pick, that's three quarterbacks, man, back to back to back. Um, Possibly going to the Patriots. I could see it happening, but I think Drake May is more of a Patriots kind of quarterback, and he's going to be the one that's going to be more standoutish to me. You know, I'm not really too impressed with JJ McCarthy. I think he just was surrounded by a team that really easily helped him thrive with the running game that they had in Michigan. I think JJ McCarthy had an easy college career, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Marvin Harrison Jr., we already know what he's going to do. He's going to be amazing right from the jump. At least that's what we think. Hopefully he's not too much of a head case. But I think he got the right mentor, and his dad is the best mentor for him. So him in a Cardinals jersey, I can see. The last pick I want to talk about is Drake May possibly going to the Vikings. Um, Man, Drake May being in the Vikings uniform, like I said, I just don't see it. I could see JJ McCarthy being there. And I heard this one thing about the Minnesota Vikings is that they're actually preferring private workouts because they really want to put these quarterbacks under pressure and see how they really perform instead of just seeing them on a pro day at the college. And I like that, because I didn't get to talk about this, but I really hate the fact that these players skip the NFL combines and stuff like that now. And some of them don't even do pro days, and they want to go to the draft. It's crazy to me. Like, you play football your whole life from what, 5 until you 35, whatever. And say you play for 30 years, but you don't mind performing in high school, in middle school, and doing all these extra workouts to prove yourself. You don't mind performing to do a combine or a workout for a college to get a scholarship. But then when the NFL come calling, the one that's really going to pay you the big dollars, I know college is paying big dollars now too, for NIL, but nobody's paying like the NFL. So when it's time for you to go perform and show what kind of skill set you got, how fast and how high you can jump, you don't want to perform. You don't want to participate for the NFL Combine. I feel like if anything, these players should participate for the NFL Combine out of all things. And if you perform there and then go to the pro day and perform there, at least it shows how consistent you are in doing things. It shows that you can consistently run a 4.29. It shows that you consistently jump 35 inches off the ground. It showed that you can consistently do a 3-cone drill in however many seconds. But man, do it. You're going to get paid. Prove it. Like, come on, Caleb Williams. Why are you skipping? But he's not the only one. It's a lot of them, but it's like, man, you don't want us to see you get exposed. So you don't want us to see what you can and cannot do. Bro, it's all on the tape. I understand, but I want to see it right now. Do the workouts, people. Do the workouts. That's just my opinion. If I was a player lining up to go to a combine or anything like that, I would do it. I'd participate. Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to get drafted. I don't care if you might be the consensus number 1 pick. Do the workout. And I feel like the NFL need to make that mandatory for these incoming NFL players who want to be prospects and stuff like that. If not, then hell, allow the players that wasn't invited to join in and take those spaces. Because there's a lot of players out there right now that would love to be in an NFL combine, that would jump at the opportunity right away. So I feel like players are so selfish and and so into themselves that they don't really take advantage of the combine and things like that to show off their skill sets, because it could really put a lot of things to bed, but it also could really start up a lot of rumors. But I mean, hell, it is what it is, and there's always gonna be a new rumor about you being in the NFL, especially when you're sitting in the draft pool and you have yet to be drafted and have not shown what you can do in the NFL. So that's just my opinion. Um, let's flip the script. Let's talk about them Houston Astros. Man, that's exactly what they're getting. Their ass whooped. The Astros are 4-9. They're last in the AL West right now. The Rangers, of course, are ahead. I mean, the Rangers only 7-5, but to see how the Astros have been thriving uh in this season so far, I would say they're definitely not thriving. They're done. And everybody is dented up. Every pitcher we got pretty much is not healthy. I mean, Jose Urquidy, he's close to possibly being in the bullpen and working out. Framber Valdez, um, he got what, something wrong with his elbow or something as well. Um, man, Justin Verlander is finally starting to get into the bullpen again and possibly playing for the Sugarland Space Cowboys. I don't even know who the hell Oliver Ortega is, but he's transferred to the 60-day IL list. Man, and then you got guys coming up like top prospects that's for the Astros, bro, and they're just getting hit all over the place. I mean, they getting their ass smacked. And be honest, bro, like just to look at these games and see that they're ahead. I done watched about 2 or 3 Astro games already, and the other ones I just kind of follow to see like where the Astros are lining up. They had opportunities to win a lot of games, and the pitching has just been hurting them all year already. And then and I say all year, the season really only been going for like what 10 days or something. But it's been a horrible 10 days. They played the Yankees, they played the Blue Jays, they played the Rangers, they playing the Royals right now, and the Yankees just demolished them. They had chances to win the games, but they relief pitching and closing. It's just been horrible. To be honest, bro, like Josh Hader, he's been a failure for the Astros so far. Um, Man, the only series that actually looked decent in was Toronto. And then they got the Rangers, and we know the Rangers are a solid team. They just won the World Series, and so did really honestly, bro. All these teams are pretty solid, but to see how they lose these games, like they played the Royals and they was up with 3-0 through the whole game, and then all of a sudden they let them get 4 runs. The next day they play the Royals and they lose 11-2. Arrighetti, they bring him up and he just get dusted. Bro, like, come on now. Uh, I just don't know what to say about this Astros team. I don't know if it's Joe Espada. I know a lot of people want to blame the manager, but honestly, for a first year manager dealing with what he got on his plate, all the injuries and things like that, it's really hard to succeed. You know, and it's the worst position you could try to put a first year manager into. Um, like my real question is like, where is everybody? Like, how long is McCullers gonna be out? We haven't seen McCullers in like what 2 years. Kendall Graveman, he's what, he got a shoulder injury. Like, are these guys ever gonna play? I think McCullers just say late June, early July is when he's possibly gonna play. Bro, that's 2 months from now. Like, this guy, he has to go. You need to trade him. They shouldn't have brought back Verlander, in my whole humble opinion. Like, the Astros are really hurting themselves. And what kind of ownership or managership do we have here? The Astros have been to what, 8 ALCS championship games. Um, the Astros have made all that money and Minute Maid. They're going to do renovations again. They're going to expand on the outside of the stadium again. But why not spend some money on the player payroll? Why didn't we get Blake Snell? I don't care that he wants 30 million a year for 2 years, 60 mil. Pay the man. Get a pitcher. It's what's well needed. With all the injuries the Astros have and things like that, the Astros need to pay up. If you want to keep this thing a dynasty and keep going, the Astros gonna have to pay up. Valdez out. You know, we thought he was gonna be healthy this year. He was the ace, but now you don't know what you're getting out of him. Elbow tightness. Like, really, my only real question for the Astros is, like, who are you paying? It don't seem like they're paying the trainers to keep these guys healthy, because every pitcher has an elbow problem or a forearm problem. Something that is very important to their pitching routine is injured forearm, elbows, shoulders. Like, bro, get it together, Houston. And if you can't get it together, this franchise that we have right now is going downhill, and possibly it's just time to rebuild right away, because the pitching is just horrible. It is terrible, and I'm tired of seeing it, because it's really making this team suffer. If the pitching was better last year, they would have won, and they brought over the same issue from last year to this year, and it's even worse. A bigger injury bug, a bigger issue, and they didn't do anything about it but add a closing pitcher and Josh Hader, who can't get the job done. So let's see what we do, man. I know it's still early. The Astros usually start the season out pretty slow, but they have never started this slow. And to me, it's evident that the Astros may not be good this year. But it's 162 games. It's a long season. It's only April. The season just started, and they got 5 months to get it together. So we shall see. I'll keep you updated on what the Astros are doing next, and what kind of series we're in for. But hey, let's talk about the UFL, particularly the Houston Roughnecks. The Houston Roughnecks that we have today are not the same that we had last year. The UFL, the XFL, and the USFL have shitted on the Houston team and gave us the bad Houston team. So, there was the Houston Roughnecks of the XFL, and there was the Houston Gamblers of the USFL. The USFL team was never good in the 2 years that it was around. The Roughnecks have always been competitive for us, and they were the actual team that we always see in person, present in Houston, playing at U of H Stadium. And now they give us a team that was supposed to be Houston, but never played in Houston, never practiced in Houston, and always played in Alabama, and gave us the worst of both teams. And they took the Roughnecks name and gave us the worst roster. So right now, currently, this Roughnecks team is at 0-2. And then the old Roughnecks have moved to San Antonio, and they're now the San Antonio Brahmas. Now, the Brahmas was around before, but I don't know what exactly they did with the Brahmas, or where did they move them to, or anything like that. But that team is 2-0. So imagine if we kept our team, we'd be 2-0 instead of 0-2. They gave us an 0-2 team with a bad coach and C.J. Johnson. They took our Houstonian coach and Wade Phillips and moved him to San Antonio to coach the Brahmas, and they gave us C.J. Johnson, or whatever his name is, and he has done a terrible job. The first game, I kind of glanced through, I fast forwarded. Second game, I actually watched the full game and seen him make bad decision after bad decision, make obvious mistakes. Bad reads, could be on the quarterback, but some of them, man, just bad game management. And I'm going to tell you what really irritated me the most about this Houston game week 2. They had the defenders where they needed them to be. They had the defenders down under. Uh, they allowed the defenders to just sneak and crawl right back into the game. And then, even then, with bad coaching by the defenders head coach, the Roughnecks had the ball on like what, the 30-yard line, almost into the red zone for themselves to make the score and win the game. And they just called 3 to 4 bad plays. And then on the last play of the game, before I even get to the plays, Natai Rogers, former Houston Cougar, blew the game for him because he had like 2 false starts. And then it was something else, like a delay of game, and then they ain't had no more timeouts. So, every time you have a flag on things like that, they deduct 10 seconds. They just kept deducting time for themselves, costing themselves the game. Natai Rogers did a terrible job at blocking, and the left tackle was no better. On the last play of the game, pressure right directly at the quarterback. He didn't have enough time to even step up in the pocket. He threw a pass deep to the tight end, and the tight end was not able to locate the ball. Had he been able to locate the ball, the Roughnecks would have won the game. But they should have never even been in that position. They got the ball. It was like 1:30 on the clock. They're on like the 30-yard line, almost to the red zone. And yet they could not do anything. They could not even make a positive play. Man, what kind of coaching they got going on over there? I understand C.J. Johnson was a hell of a position coach for Andre Johnson back in college at Miami, but he's a hell of a terrible head coach so far to me. And to be honest, like, the one thing I like about the UFL is that you get to hear the play calls and you get to hear the sideline chatter. And it's like, bro, he don't even know what the hell he doing on the sideline. He asking his position coaches and his coordinators and stuff like, hey, what we doing? What we doing? Should I do this? Should I do that? Like, come on, bro. Come on. Gots to do better. Well, hopefully this Houston Roughneck team can get their first victory. They will be playing the Michigan Panthers this Sunday, 11 a.m. And hopefully they can somehow pull out a victory, man. Like, honestly, I'm still trying to get to know the roster, especially since they've combined rosters from the UFL and drafted new players, and you got these players from the USFL and all those kind of things. To be honest, I didn't even follow the Gamblers because they were terrible. And so now to see them as a Roughnecks, it's like, it's real tough. But any Houston team I'm always a fan of. I was even cheering them on still. I just didn't follow them like that because they was always losing. And now we got to watch them lose as a Houston Roughneck squad. Is really hard to watch, especially when you put on that Roughnecks uniform and you go out there and take a L. That's not like the Roughnecks that I know. Possibly, man, I might catch a game soon. I used to be a Roughneck season ticket holder, especially the inaugural year. And hopefully this team can turn things around so I can go cheer them on. And I'm going to be honest, too. I'll say this. I really don't like that they play at Rice Stadium. Rice Stadium is a shithole, and man, it really sucks that they play there. And Rice needs to do something about their stadium situation if they want to become a better college football team as well. That's just my whole humble opinion. But anyways, man, good luck to the Roughnecks. Good luck to the Astros for the next week. The last thing, I know a lot of us follow Destroying, the YouTuber, Instagrammer, TikToker, the dude that kicks footballs and do all other kind of things with NFL players. Destroying was playing for the San Antonio Brahmas. He finally got a professional job. He finally decided to take a step of faith and actually go play instead of talking about what he can do and actually going to do it. He had this whole story about UCF not allowing him to TikTok or whatever, YouTube, and make his money and still play. And it's like, bro, I was so irritated by his story after a while because he kept on talking about it. But he finally put his money where his mouth was, and he went out there and balled out. So the Brahmas 2-0. He was doing a good job, and unfortunately, man, um, that's exactly what happened to him. He tried to make a tackle on the kick return after kicking the ball, and he got his ass smacked. Um, he got a neck fracture in multiple places, and he's out for the season. And hopefully he come back. I got a feeling he's not gonna come back and try to play again. I feel like it was almost kind of like a stunt that he pulled off. But man, it was nice to see him playing a little bit and going out there and shining. Hopefully, Destroying do come back though. Good luck to him getting healthy, and hopefully, like I said, we get to see him in another team uniform, maybe in the NFL next season, because they will have a similar kickoff. So it's good to see uh, Destroying just go out there and try, and we'll see what he be doing on YouTube now. Since he got this so-called neck fracture. I'm not saying he don't have it. I just feel like it's somewhat very stuntish. Um, Last but not least, man. Rest in peace to O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was hell of a player, hell of a person, hell of a character. He passed away of cancer at the age of 76. O.J. Simpson was someone that we knew as not only a former NFL star, broadcaster, but also criminal. But the one thing that I think about O.J. Simpson the most is when when come to mind is the chase that he had in L.A. in the Bronco. That was a slow speed chase, and also him playing his role in Roots. That especially because Roots was something that was very major for people growing up, especially back then. But even in school, that's something that they showed you, the original Roots show / movie, whatever you want to call it. It was very good, and it was something interesting, especially seeing O.J. Simpson on the big screen at that time and at such a young age, and him being a very controversial figure he is, someone that was said that was a murderer that murdered his wife and her friend and things like that. O.J. Simpson is a Hall of Fame player, though. A player that played for the Bills, and that was very special. One of the best to ever do it, that is O.J. Simpson. One of the people to commit some of the biggest crimes, that is O.J. Simpson. This guy was even involved in armed robbery, went to prison, came back out of jail, and tried to turn his life around. Still was on TV. Still people looked up to him, for many reasons and many things. He was a guy that was at a young, early age, that went through a lot of things in his childhood, being part of gangs, getting into fights, being arrested several times, things like that. O.J. Simpson was that guy. But, you can put negativity on top of his name, and somehow he still beat it. Being one of those first African American athletes to really get noticed and be on all TV shows and commercials and things. The Hertz car rental commercials. Those are the things that they really recognize him for. Being one of the first to do it. One of the big images across America. As a black kid, for people that was young back then, he was one of those people that you looked up to. OJ was his name, So I just want to say, man, rest in peace. I know, OJ did a lot of things. He had different perceptions of himself, I'm sure, than what other people believed. But truth is, he was found not guilty for the murder. He did get caught for the armed robbery. Who knows if he really did what he did, as far as murder, yes or no. But O.J. Simpson did a lot of things. He impacted a lot of lives. He wasn't all bad. He had some good in him too. So when you talk about O.J. Simpson, think about that too. there's some nice things to say about him, not all negative. And I think that's about anybody. We all got something negative that we could say about ourselves or say about another person, but it's always some good in there too in your heart. No matter how bad or nasty you may have been at one point in time, O.J. Simpson did a lot of things and overcame a lot of things in his life. And to be honest, to say what was put forth, I think he did a great job leaving an impact on this world. So that's what I got to say about O.J. Simpson. And overall, man, that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you, people, for listening, looking. Don't forget to share and subscribe to the website. Hey, also check out the link tree. Make sure you check out my apparel, man. I got some new stuff coming out. It's springtime. Get you a bucket hat. I know we all outside in our gardens, cutting grass, taking care of the shrubs and things like that. Well, if you're doing that, man, wear HSC while you at it, because I need your support. I need your love. And thank you for listening to another HSC episode.